All right. I apologize that you have the second team here today in Mayor Pro Tem, but Ron is not feeling well today, so he's getting some much-needed rest. So let's call to order, Madam Clerk, with a roll call.
Mayor Smith, absent. Mayor Pro Tem Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Dare, absent. City Attorney Adams. Here. City Manager Croots.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Lee Nish, would you give us the invocation?
Will you bow with me, please? Gracious God, how grateful we are to live in this great community, one of the most beautiful places, indeed, in all the nation. We give you thanks for the weather and the marvelous outdoor opportunities. We ask your blessings, especially on Mayor Ron today, that he may heal and find that he's feeling better, and your blessings on each and every council member here and on all those who are part of the room. We pray an extra measure of both kindness and patience as the deliberations begin to, as we begin to understand how to better serve one another and each other as we move forward in this progressive community. So with your blessings upon all of us here, upon all those who work for and on behalf of our city, especially the police and the fire department, and for those who are residents, we give you thanks and ask your blessings upon all of us. In the name of your Son we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Abbott, will you lead us?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comment. I do have one public comment card. Anyone else in the public wishing to speak, please fill out a card. Mary L. Gilbert, we have you up first. Mary? Nope, there you are. Yep, just have a seat there,
Oh, wait, sit?
if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's fine.
It's
It's a lot
different.
easier than standing up, because then I can pin these are behind me. I am here to go on public record and start a conversation about including tattoo shops in the same category as personal services when it comes to zoning requirements. So personal services usually include estheticians and hair salons and things like that. And they also include permanent makeup, which is essentially a fancier word for a tattoo on your face. I feel like tattoo shops have been improperly categorized on their own. I think that they adhere to health department standards. They make no outside noise. They don't have free candy written on the door to lure children in. And they're only allowed in 4 zoning areas as of right now. When there's a lot more out there, more zoning areas than that. And so, yeah, I wanted to try and see if people would be willing to start a conversation about that, because Reno has far surpassed us in Sparks as being really involved in the arts. And my husband, who's not just a tattoo artist, but a fine artist, has done many murals in the Reno area and really wants to branch out into Sparks, not just with his tattoo shop, but also with bringing fine art out here and, making this community a lot more beautiful that way. We really love Sparks and would really like to move our business out here. And we're definitely meeting some serious zoning problems trying to get there. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
think about it, guys, because it would be really cool. I promise.
I'm gonna have, our city manager, zoning? Who do you wanna have talk to her about zoning?
Mr. Martini.
There you go.
I've been talking to a lot of people. Oh yeah, we talked. I've been talking.
Well, he's the place to start.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'll come see you later when you're not in.
Anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? All right, if not, we're gonna close public comment. Looking for an approval of the agenda. Donald,
I'll move to approve.
second by Ms. Bybee.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. I gotta do dual duties today, so I gotta keep my mind going in the right direction. All right, number 6, approval of the minutes. Donald,
I move to approve.
Mr. Anderson.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those, please vote. Running the wrong meeting. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 7, announcements, presentation, recognition items, and items of special interest. And first up is Francine with upcoming Art Town events.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Beth McMillan. I'm the Executive Director of Art Town. And exactly 1 week, the 24th anniversary, the 24th Art Town Festival will begin next Monday. And I'm coming to tell you today, really to applaud all of you, esteemed City Council, Mayor, who's not here, and City Manager. Thank you so much for all you have done for the arts. What has happened in Sparks recently has never happened before. On your website, there is a link to all the Art Town events that are happening in Sparks. And part of this, this credit really does go to this incredible woman sitting right here. Francine has been extraordinary in moving the arts forward in the city of Sparks. We are going to have a free performance at the Nugget Event Center. And it's really a lovely way. We've been working with the Nugget to, what we do in Reno and all over Washoe County really is encourage the community to learn about their own new venues and venues that exist in parks. And what better way to invite the community to this brand new, beautiful venue than to open it to the public and have a free performance. So Ruthie Foster, a great blues rock singer, will be performing on the 11th of July. My board of directors, most of them are coming to that event, and I would love for all of you to attend that event and meet our board of directors and see what's really going on in the arts with our organization. I've bought a poster for each of you and little books. I don't know if you have them. I've also got postcards. We have postcards that we give to anybody at Art Town who will fill it in anywhere in the world. And I will mail this anywhere in the whole wide world. Last time we did this, we went to 22 different countries, including China, and all over the place. So I've got postcards. You're welcome to give them back to me, and I'll mail them for you. The other thing that we've made this huge movement in sustainability at Art Town, I'm not going to be selling plastic bottles of water at our produced events. We are going to be, if you bring your own container, or you can have this beautiful cup, and it's just a wonderful way for us to, we'll be having free water at all of our events. So it really encourages hydration and also helps the planet a little bit. So with that, I would like to show a short sizzle reel that we showed at our press conference. This sort of gives you a sneak peek of Art Town. for your support. The City of Sparks is actually supporting our event at the Nugget Event Center. So you really are participating in a way that is extraordinary. Thank you very much.
Yes. Ms. Spivey.
Hey, Beth, so excited to have Art Town in the last couple of years make its way back into Sparks. So we have in the last couple of years had events, and this is huge with the Ruthie Foster concert. I looked online on your Art Town website, and just so people know how to get tickets, they have to go to, do they have to go to the Nugget the 27th through the 30th? The Nuggets will have tickets available and they're free. Is there another way to get tickets, or is that right?
No, I think you need to go to the box office in the hotel and pick up your free tickets. All tickets are free, or you can get a day of the event. So you do have to pick up a physical ticket. They did give us the option of getting people to get it online and get charged $1.50. I said, no, that's not free then. So, free is free. So people will have to go and get their tickets, but it shouldn't be too, I mean, people had to go get their tickets for the show last week, right?
Correct.
And it seemed to work out just fine.
Okay. I just wanted people to know, I talked to a lot of them at the Lavender Festival yesterday, really talking up the event, the venue and the event, and it's a free concert. So I'm hoping that a lot of people in the community join us. I'll be there, and I'm excited. So thank you so much for all you do for Art Town. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Sure.
We'll leave this one for Ron.
perfect. Thank you.
You won't have to buy a plastic bottle anymore.
Very nice. All right.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, items 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4. Mr. Kreutz.
All right, we have 3 vacancies to announce. The first one is that's 7.2 for the Civil Service Commission. It is we're looking for a single member to serve a 3-year term, and applications will be accepted through the summer until the vacancy is filled. 7.3 is a vacancy on the Sierra Arts Foundation Board of Trustees. We are looking for 1 member to serve a 1-year term, and applications for this position will be accepted through the end of the day on July 11th. So that one's coming up pretty quick. And then third, but not last, is we have a planning commission vacancy due to a resignation. We need somebody to fulfill the remainder of a term that runs through December of 2020. And then the appointee would be available to serve additional terms. For all 3 of these positions, if you're interested in applying and serving on any of these committees, you should complete a community service application available from the city clerk's office. You can also apply online at www.cityofsparks.us. Once you're there, click on Government, then Boards and Commissions, then Volunteering for a Sparks Board or Commission, fill out the online application, and submit. I announced the deadlines for each of them individually for the for planning. Thank you. Close of business July 5th.
Okay. Thank you. All right, consent items. Anybody wishing to take anything out of consent items? If not, looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
Move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.8.
Ms. Spivey.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Now, the reason why everybody's here. Chief Kroll. So this is the part, this will be my first oath.
So no pressure.
Yes.
Both parties.
I state your name. I, Peter J. Kroll. Do solemnly swear that I will support. Do solemnly swear that I will support. Protect and defend. Protect and defend. The Constitution and government of the United States. The Constitution and government of the United States. And the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada. And the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada. Against all enemies. Against all enemies. Whether domestic or foreign. Whether domestic or foreign. And that I will bear true faith. And that I will bear true faith. And allegiance and loyalty to the same. And allegiance and loyalty to the same. In any ordinance. Any ordinance. Resolution. Resolution. Or law. Or law. Of any state notwithstanding. Of any state notwithstanding. And that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully perform all the duties of the office of Sparks Police Chief on which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
paparazzi. Backdrop, like.
If you want to say a few words, you're welcome. Well, actually, no. Okay. I've heard someone that says exactly. Almost forgot that.
It's your first time.
Yeah, it is.
Bring up that chest.
Okay.
Hard part's over.
Oh, I don't know. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, fellow citizens, I'm here before you today as your newly sworn chief of police, the 25th such selection in the history of the city of Sparks. I am truly humbled and grateful for the opportunity presented to me. It is truly a privilege to get to continue my career, especially in a new role as chief. We at the Sparks Police Department and the city of Sparks consider ourselves to be family. Many members of that family, past and present, are here today. Thank you to all of them for their support. But most importantly, I thank my wife for her support and encouragement. The challenges facing law enforcement are many, but this family will continue to uphold the mantra of honor, pride, and privilege. We will continue to work hard every day to serve our citizens to the best of our ability, and we will continue to find innovative ways to provide that service. I am truly honored to have been selected as your chief of police. Thank you.
So we will have a little get-together afterwards at 5 o'clock at,
Immediately following council, Legion Hall across the street.
okay, perfect. We're looking forward to it. All right. Now, if you guys want to clear the room, I know you don't want to stick around for the rest of this meeting.
Like they're all, everybody. Because I think we did a photo with the chief.
Do we want a picture?
Yes, Shirley.
Well, you're missing most
I
of the
know, we're
council. Let's
missing
do it
two.
another week.
Wait and do when everybody's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Usually Julie's on it, I bet she has to, yeah. We could Photoshop them in. Donald could Photoshop them in, we could have fun with that.
Photoshop a head in.
All right, let's move on while everybody's filing out. Item 9.2, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the mayor's recommendation of an appointment to the Reno Tahoe Airport Board trustee for a term ending in 6/30 of 2023 from the following pool of applicants, listed in alphabetical order: Sean Carey, Terry Frugally, Leanne McCulley, and Kenneth Moen. Mr. Kreutz.
For the record, Neil Kreutz, your city manager. Mayor Pro Tem, you've really given the whole presentation. I understand that you have a list of the mayor's recommendations, so we'll go back to you.
Well, that's perfect. So, well, Mr. Carey, it looks like the mayor has chosen you again to come and serve the city of Sparks with the airport authority. Well, thank you. Want to say anything?
Do you need a motion on this?
I think we need a motion. You do.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay. Just
I want to give Sean a moment to, well, let me make,
we vote
we haven't voted on it.
all right, Sean, hold on.
Sean, I just want you to know I'm not part of this conversation. Let's go.
All right, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Sean Carey to the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority Board of Trustees for the term ending June 30th, 2023.
Looking for a second, Ms. Spivey.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any objections? No. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously by the skin of your teeth. Sean?
Well, thank you very much for the selection. I really am enjoying the role at the airport. Our job is to keep the planes in the air and bringing dollars to our region, and we're trying really hard to accomplish that every day. If at any time you have any concerns or questions from constituents regarding the airport, please feel free to contact Art and myself, who serve you as trustees, and I look forward to the next 4 years of doing good things for our region.
And your reputation at the airport board is outstanding. We hear about you all the time, and what a wonderful job you're doing, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Neil, I'm gonna let you read this one. 9.3.
For the record, Neil Kreutz, your city manager. Item 9.3 is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the mayor's recommendation of an appointment to the Sparks Arts and Culture Advisory Committee for a partial term ending November 6th of 2020 from the following pool of applicants listed in alphabetical order: David Blacko, Ann Higginbotham, Nicole Miller, and Kaylee Spinhern. I hope I didn't murder anybody's name too poorly. And it's, I understand you've got the mayor's
Yep, and the
selection.
mayor has chosen Ann Higginbotham, and her term will expire 11/6/20. Is Ann here by chance? She's not. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee?
I move to confirm the mayor's recommendation to the appointment of Ann Higginbotham to the Sparks Arts and Culture Advisory Committee for a partial term ending 11/6/2020.
Second, Mr. Abbott?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. 9.4.
Again, for the record, Neil Kreutz, your city manager. Item 9.4 is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the mayor's recommendation of 2 3-year appointments with terms ending June 30th of 2022 and 1 partial term appointment ending June 30th of 2020 to the Sparks Parks and Recreation Commission from the following pool of applicants listed in alphabetical order: David Blacko, Jack Byram, Terry Frugoli, Jasmine Lozano, Kelly Lucchetti, and Jennifer Martinez.
And the mayor has incumbents Jack Byram and Jennifer Martinez will continue with 3-year terms expiring 6/30 of 22, and Terry Frugoli will accept a partial term expiring 6/30 of 20. Looking for a motion? Mr. Abbott?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Anderson?
Second the motion.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.5.
Again, for the record, Neil Kreutz, your city manager, with item 9.5, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the mayor's recommendation of an appointment to the Technical Review Committee for the Washoe County Horn Consortium for a 3-year term ending June 30th of 2022 from the following pool of applicants: Diane Vanderwell.
Any other? I'm just giving you a hard time, Diane. That was it. I think Diane's gonna get this one. I'm looking for a motion, Ms. Bybee.
I get my microphone. I move to confirm the mayor's recommendation to appoint Diane Vanderwell to the Technical Review Committee of the Washoe County Home Consortium for a 3-year term ending 6/30/2022.
Second, Mr. Anderson.
Second the motion?
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Whew, lucky. You made it, Diane. Motion carries unanimously. You want to say something? You're welcome to come down, just, or forever hold your peace. Well, that's a wedding, sorry.
I do want to say thank you for the appointment. I appreciate it. And since housing is on the forefront, not only in our community, but all over the United States, I think this is an important appointment, and I hope to do the city proud. So thank you for the appointment.
You?
Thank you.
All right. Chief, you're up. 9.6 is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a forensic support service agreement for the fiscal year 2019-20 with Washoe County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $539,500.
Thank you. For the record, Pete Crawley, your police chief. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. The Washoe County Sheriff's Office Forensic Science Division provides full forensic services to local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. The division is a full-service forensic laboratory staffed by more than 40 individuals in sworn and civilian capacities. The division provides investigative support with a full-service unit. The scientific disciplines consist of DNA, toxicology, controlled substances, firearms, and limited trace evidence analysis. The breath alcohol section also provides support for breath alcohol instruments across northern Nevada. The city began contracting forensic services with Washoe County in 1988 when the Washoe County Sheriff's Office first opened the crime lab. The service agreement has been renewed yearly or in several cases on multiple year terms since the first agreement in 1988. The initial agreements called for annual increases not to exceed 3% each year. However, the cost of forensic services, especially in the field of DNA technology, increased more rapidly than the contract allowed for. New terms have historically been negotiated between the Sparks Chief of Police and the Washoe County Sheriff. In an effort to make up the difference between actual costs and billed costs, former Sparks Police Chief Kiefer negotiated with Washoe County Sheriff Haley a fixed dollar amount increase of $35,000 per year. However, costs continued to outpace increases, and the amount was renegotiated between Sparks Chief Allen and Washoe County Sheriff Chuck Allen at an annual increase of $50,000. The agreement for fiscal year 2019-2020 is $539,500, which was included in the approved city budget for fiscal year 20. The Sparks Police Department does not maintain a forensic science division, section, or unit. Costs to establish a full-service lab would be prohibitively high. The Washoe County Sheriff's Office Forensic Science Division performs evidence collection and laboratory analysis for an array of services. These services are many times required as call-outs from the Sparks Police Department Detective Section on a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week basis. The Forensic Science Division is commonly requested by Sparks Police detectives for homicides, sexual assaults, child abuse or death, child sexual assault, suspicious deaths, shootings, stabbings, officer-involved shootings, traffic accidents involving death or significant injuries, or any major felony. Officers also submit for DNA analysis on a variety of property crime cases such as residential and/or vehicle burglary. Further, expert testimony regarding these services and laboratory results by Washoe County staff are required in court for the successful prosecution of these critical cases. The service provided by the Washoe County Forensic Science Division is mission critical to the efficient operation of the Sparks Police Department. Staff respectfully recommends approval of the Forensic Support Service Agreement AC 5583. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Ms. Bybee?
Yeah, Chief, I just had one question. So the new renegotiated contract is calling for a $50,000 increase per year. What happens in the subsequent years if our costs are lower or higher? How is that resolved?
I would have to have that conversation with the sheriff, with Sheriff Balaam. I have not had such a conversation as of yet.
Okay, so we're set at the 50,000 for now, and then we can track whether it's a higher amount or a lower amount and go, whether we'd renegotiate or how that is handled. Would be
believe that-
between you and the sheriff.
Yes, or I believe the council could give direction to the manager.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's my only question.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I just had a question. How often are we utilizing the resources from them there?
I would describe it as quite often. There's really no way to predict when we would need such a service. I hate to say that it comes in streaks sometimes, but that seems to be the way that it occurs. Whenever we have a crime of the nature that I described, we require their support and their help to successfully prosecute those crimes. If we did not have that capability, we would be very, very hard pressed, if not utterly impossible, to provide the prosecution and render aid to our victims.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? All right, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson?
Move to approve the Forensic Support Services Agreement AC 5583 with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office and ratify the $539,500 expenditure.
Mr. Abbott?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Okay, motion carries unanimously. All right, 9.7, Ms. Eiding. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a 10-year extension of the right-of-way agreement between the City of Sparks and Truckee Meadows Water Authority. Ms. Eiding.
Hi, thank you. For the record, Cheryl Eiding, City Attorney's Office. For your consideration and approval is an extension of the right-of-way agreement for 10 years between the city and Truckee Meadows Water Authority. This renewal would be under the same terms and conditions as the city and Tumwa have operated since 2009. No amendments were sought by Tumwa, and city staff has not identified any changes they would wish to make to the right-of-way agreement. The rights-of-way agreement provides for a 5% franchise fee to be paid to the city by Tumwa. This fee is the maximum allowed under Nevada revised statutes. The franchise fee is 5% of gross revenues derived from Sparks residents. The 60% of the fee goes to the general fund, 40% of the fee to the road fund for the city. In 2018, the city received approximately $1.12 million in franchise fees from Tumwa, and that summarizes the agreement. If you have any questions, be happy to ask.
Questions? Ms. Bybee?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Mr. Anderson, you have a question?
Second
Okay.
the motion if she's ready to make it.
Let's get after it then.
Okay, I move to authorize the city manager to provide written approval to the Truckee Meadows Water Authority to extend the rights-of-way agreement AC 5590 E-880 until July 31st, 2029, and to sign the grant of easement for water transmission facilities attached to this staff report.
Mr. Anderson?
I will second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.8, Mr. Cronk, or Mr. Marin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I am Dan Marin, your Contracts and Risk Manager for the record. Items 9.8 and 9.9 represent our annual renewal of insurance policies that cover events that may occur beyond the city's self-insurance limits. Item 9.8 deals with the city policies, and these include insurance policies that cover property and contents, automotive physical damage, general liability, auto liability, cyber liability, employee dishonesty, and tenant user liability policies. As shown in the table used in the attachment for your staff report, cumulatively, we're seeing an increase of roughly 14% in premium costs spread across all of those policies, with the heaviest impact seen in our policy for property coverage at 23%. The good news that I have for you today is that the premium costs have decreased slightly since we drafted your staff report. The line for property coverage decreased to $334,993, resulting in a revised 21% increase for that line over fiscal 19. This makes the total insurance premium for the city of $702,243, or an increase across all policies of roughly 13%. So a little background on why we're seeing increases, especially in the property side of things. First off, the city's claim history over the last 4 years specific to large vehicle claims. The unfortunate nature of things in an operation like ours is when we break things, we break big, expensive things. And that's vehicles, vacuum trucks, trash trucks, of the like. And we've just seen a loss history over the last 4 years that cause underwriters concern when we're eating up almost 50% of our premium costs on claim costs. That's number one. Number two, the insured values of those things that we were insuring, property, buildings, et cetera, all go up with inflation. Additionally, this year, we revised the values that are associated with the city's listing of equipment. These are the non-licensed vehicles, things like generators, things that we carry on trailers, mowers, and the like. We've shifted from a depreciated value method to a value that's based on the replacement cost of the piece of equipment that's being insured, just like we do with our vehicles. So if something breaks, we're seeking coverage for the full replacement cost at the time, rather than the depreciated cost in a 15-year-old mower, for instance. Finally, this year, we're also seeing within the insurance market an adjustment due to all the big losses that we've seen across the country in the past year associated with large regional disasters, including flooding, hurricanes, and wildfires. And while the city of Sparks has been fortunate to avoid these problems ourselves, it's worth noting that the communities that have gone through those events are seeing even larger increases to their property insurance rates in the mid-20% range. We are recommending additional coverage or coverage changes for a new line of coverage in this insurance cycle. Included in your spreadsheet, the details all of our insurance costs is a new line of coverage that's labeled as assault, threat, and response coverage. Like all of our insurance coverages listed, this is certainly a policy that we hope we never have to use. However, the nature of events in other communities over the last several years has given us rise to this sort of insurance product. Specifically, the coverage is intended to assist government agencies in cases where they may have had an incident of an active assailant on their property that does harm to people or those properties. What we've seen following incidents in other communities is an immediate need for coverage that might include costs for counseling, public information resources, site security, business continuity, and the like. The policy that we're recommending here has a premium cost of $1,709 and would attempt to cover some of those unbudgeted expenses should they be needed. I'm pleased to try to answer any questions on this item. Additionally, representatives from our insurance broker, USI Insurance Services, including Brandon Lewis and Jennifer Fryer, are available to deal with any policy-specific questions you might have. And that completes my comment on 9.8.
Questions? Seeing none, all right, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
Yeah. I move to approve the purchase of various commercial insurance policies to protect the financial interests of the city in an amount of approximately $702,243. Is that right? Cool. For the next policy periods, and authorize the contracts and risk manager to execute agreements for those policies.
Ms. Bybee.
That was a reduction.
Isn't it 708,000?
No, it got reduced.
It got reduced, and we use the term approximately because these items are constantly repriced until we sign the new agreement hitting July 1st. So the staff report originally read 708 and change.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with either amount. We use the term approximately just for this purpose.
Okay. Can you repeat the amount? I'm reading the amount here, and it's 708, so
I'd rather you
want
hit
to
the higher number.
The higher number?
Please.
Taking notes on what I heard.
Way to be on top of it, though, Donald.
I know. Do you want me to start over? I'll just do the whole thing. I move to approve the purchase of various commercial insurance policies to protect the financial interests of the city in an amount of approximately $708,337. $308,000. Let me start over. $708,337 for the next policy periods, and authorize the contracts and risk manager to execute agreements for those policies.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.9.
9.9, again, Dan Mearen, your contracts and risk manager for the record. This item deals with the insurance policies that we have with respect to the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. And we have two insurance policies with respect to that site. We carry a pollution liability policy that's renewed on a 3-year cycle that was last renewed in fiscal 2018. Therefore, so you do not see a corresponding cost for the policy in the upcoming fiscal year. That will come for fiscal '21. It's listed in your spreadsheet as a reference item only. The other policy is specific to property and contents at Tumwharf. Similar to the city coverage detailed in the last item, the rate used to calculate the policy premium has gone up for the next renewal period. As offered in your spreadsheet detailing our premiums, we originally drafted your staff report indicating a 19% increase year to year. Again, in the period since drafting this report, the prices have been further negotiated down to an increase of 17% for a total of $303,530. Worth noting, this is the total expense for the insurance at the plant. It is split per the operating agreement with the city of Reno, with the Spark share and the Reno share, roughly 1/3 and 2/3. Again, the reasoning for the increase at Tumwharf can be tied to the national inflationary values for replacement costs of equipment and buildings at the facility, combined with the economic factors impacting the insurance markets I detailed in the last item. Again, I'm pleased to try to answer any questions for you. Otherwise, we have other experts in the room.
All right, questions? Seeing none, looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
Move to approve the purchase of various commercial insurance policies to protect the financial interests of Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility, an amount of approximately $308,730 for the next policy periods, and authorize the contracts and risk manager to execute agreements for these policies.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Marin. 9.10, Ms. Sosa. Consideration, discussion, and possible rejection of responsive bids to the 2019 curb gutter sidewalk and pavement rehabilitation project, East J Street. And I'm going to let you read all the numbers. Ms. Sosa.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, Amber Sosa, Transportation Manager for the record. I'm presenting today for your consideration the possible rejection of bids received for the just mentioned 2019 curb, gutter, sidewalk, and pavement rehabilitation project. This project was identified in the fiscal year 19 CIP. The map, may I please have the screen? Location of the project was on East J Street, just north of Prater, and is bounded by Stanford Way and Probasco to the west and east. These projects do involve complete replacement and rehabilitation of all of the curb and gutter, the sidewalk, the driveways, and the asphalt roadway surface itself. The project was advertised in bid on May 30th of this year. While the city did receive 4 responsive bids, the low bid was $318,007, which was almost 23% over the available budget. With your approval today to reject these bids, it would allow city staff to determine options for completing the project in the future. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? Ms. Bybee.
So Amber, obviously this is a critical needs of that street does need that work done since, and I understand why we can't accept the bids because they are too high. How far out are we moving this? Do we rebid again? Are we thinking it would be the fall or the winter? How much is it delayed? Because I'm concerned about the condition of those and how much longer, everyone who's living and driving and walking on that street until that repair can be done.
Absolutely. Once the bids came in, we did go out and field reevaluate the street to see if it was possible to have it delayed. We'd be looking at repackaging the project. A couple of possibilities would be to bid it earlier in the season before contractors have their schedules booked up. Another option would be to package it with another street to make it a larger project where we could take advantage of more efficient bid prices. There's a couple of options to us as it is programmed as part of the curb gutter sidewalk program that you guys see every 5 years. We would be looking to do it obviously sooner rather than later.
So what is our timeline that you're targeting?
As of right now, I would be targeting spring of next year. Go out with an early bid, just only because our contractors right now are so busy. The economy, there's lots and lots of work out there. I would not want to put it back out and get the same prices that we did. So we would look at repackaging it more efficiently, and we'd be looking at bidding it early spring for construction of early spring in 2020.
Okay, I do appreciate that, but we're okay on the safety aspect of the curb gutter, no safety issues, we're good to wait until next spring?
Yes,
to
that's
get
my
it done?
opinion, yeah, that we're,
Okay,
that,
that's just what I wanted reassurance on.
yes.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Abbott.
So looking for the next year's projects and combining, is there anything in that area that we can combine with if we do go that route?
We do, yes. The program of projects that we laid out for the 5-year for this is all relatively in the same area. So we'd be looking at the other streets that are on the list, which ones make sense, putting them together most efficiently.
Gotcha. Thank you. And I can make a motion whenever we're ready.
Further questions? Seeing none, go ahead.
I
Mr. Abbott.
move to reject the responsive bids for the 2019 curb, gutter, sidewalk, and pavement rehab project due to insufficient funding.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. And motion carries. Maybe? Unanimously. Phew, little drama.
Thank you.
9.11, consideration, discussion, of possible approval of a contract for Wingfield Hills Road storm drain improvements. Okay. Mr. Porter.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, for the record, Kevin Porter, Utility Manager. And as you just stated, this item is for consideration, discussion, possible approval of a construction contract with Z7 Development in the amount of $386,002.15. This project was identified as a major infrastructure improvement priority following the winters of 2017 and 2018. I'll direct your eyes to the screens where we have an exhibit of the project area. For reference, the image is oriented to the north arrow is facing up. To the left side of your screen or to the west of the project is where the Rayleigh's is in Northeast Sparks. And on the right side of the screen or to the east is where Golden Eagle Park and Fire Station 5 lie. The blue line that you see on the screen is the alignment of the project. This is aligned along Wingfield Hills Road. The road is not currently paved. It is a dirt road that can be used for emergency access. And what we've seen following the winters of 2017 and 2018 is stormwater runoff coming out of the hills to the south, encroaching across the road and encroaching private residences on the north side of that road. This project would put storm drain improvements in place that would mitigate that stormwater runoff going across the road and encroaching on those properties. The improvements include a ditch, storm drain pipe, a bermed section, and a detention pond. We did receive 10 bids for this project, which tells us that it was a very competitive bidding opportunity for contractors in the area. And we did provide for a flexible start time in the specifications for this project. Those two items lead staff to believe that the pricing that we received for the project is very competitive for the work that's being done. This project was approved as part of the FY20 capital improvement plan. The estimate for the project, original estimate, was low due to an error. When that error was corrected, when we included some missing storm drain materials, the estimate came out to $367,000. So slightly lower than the low bid, but as I mentioned, with the 10 bids that we received and the flexible schedule that we provided within the specifications, and this being an infrastructure priority, staff does recommend approval of this project and believes it is a priority project that we should get constructed this fiscal year, fiscal year 20. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions? Ms. Bybee.
What is your timeframe when, if this is approved today, when would you envision the project starting? How long will it take?
Our timeframe, this was approved as part of the fiscal year 20, so we're bringing it to you now as the last meeting in June to try to be proactive with getting project approval so that the contractor can hit the ground running early in July. With talking with the contractor that submitted the low bid Z7 development, it sounds like they anticipate getting started the week after the 4th of July. And I believe within the project specifications, we allowed 80 working days. I do believe that it will take them at least 2 months, 2 to 3 months to accomplish the work up on Wingfield Hills Road. Our intent was to get this work done before the wet season next year so that we can obviously mitigate, once we get into the wet season, any stormwater encroaching across that road. So the flexible schedule that we did allow the contractor in the specifications just requires that they be complete by, I believe it's November 1st.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was getting at, to see if we were going to be ahead of the storm season, and I do appreciate that because I know it was a huge issue, and that is in my ward. So I appreciate, and I'm sure the residents out there will too. Thank you.
Any other questions? Looking for a motion. Ms. Spivey.
I'll go ahead and make a motion. I move to approve a construction contract AC 5584 for the Wingfield Hills Road Storm Drain Improvements Project to Z7 Development in the amount of $386,002.15.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.12. Consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of resolution number 3347 to augment the FY19 budget of the Victorian Square Room Tax Fund by $853,760 to provide appropriation for previously approved incentive agreements between the City of Sparks and Marnell Gaming. Ms. Hemmerling.
Stacy Hemmerling, Budget Manager. This resolution 3347, if adopted, will augment the fiscal 19 budget of the room tax fund by that $854,000. Your room tax fund, as the name suggests, is where we collect room taxes, and they can be spent on land acquisition or improvements in the Victorian Square area. So in January, Council did approve that incentive agreement with Marnell, and that agreement called for an $853,760 payment in fiscal 19. That payment was not anticipated in the fiscal 19 budget, so while the funding is there to pay this, the budget authority is not until we augment. So we are recommending today to approve this resolution so we can do that augmentation.
Okay, questions? Seeing none, looking for a motion. Ms. Spivey.
I move to adopt resolution number 3347 to augment the fiscal year 19 budget of the Victorian Square Room Tax Fund by $853,760 to provide appropriations for previously approved incentive agreement AC 5547 between the City of Sparks and Marnell Gaming, LLC.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.13. Consideration possible approval of an expenditure of $625,000 for contract labor to augment public works maintenance activities for the fiscal year 2020, utilizing a joinder with the State of Nevada RFP and contract. Mr. Corman. I had a brain freeze there for a second. Sorry. Looking right at you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. First, I'd like to direct you to the exhibit. This is just a breakdown of labor used over the last calendar year, 18 through 19, for labor that's produced or performed by Public Works. Approximately 71% by full-time employees, contract labor, 18% community service, which is the folks that come out of our court system that are working off their community service, and then we have 6% of our labor is performed by the sheriff's work crew. And both of my agenda items today, 913 and 914, both relate to this. And 913, in an effort to reduce labor costs, Public Works has been hiring contract labor through Manpower for the last 7 years. These manpower workers make up 18% of the Public Works labor force by providing 15 full-time contract employees. I'm asking you to consider an expenditure of $625,000 that was budgeted in fiscal year 20 to augment Public Works maintenance with contracted labor for fiscal year 20. The expense of 15 full-time employees with benefits would be approximately $1.2 million. This labor force is used throughout Public Works and street maintenance, park maintenance, weed abatement, general cleaning, trash removal, and as with an administrative helper over at our yard. And so with that, I'm happy to try and answer any questions you might have.
Questions? Mr. Anderson.
Actually, just a comment, and I want to compliment you on comparing it to if we were to have full-time employees doing the work. If I understood, you said 1.2 million in
Yes, sir.
comparison. So thank you for that information. It makes it helpful for us to make a decision there. Thank you.
I will tell you that we did this during the Great Recession, and it worked out very well in our favor, and it's worked out ever since, and I'm glad to see this program continue on. Ms. Bybee.
I had a question. So Ron, with the joinder provision with the state just gives us a better cost of the labor than us going out and doing the contract labor on our own. Is that why it's with the state of Nevada?
Yes, ma'am. Well, it does two things for us. It gives us greater buying power by joindering in with them and their contracting so that the rates would hopefully be a little bit better.
Okay.
And the other thing is that it saves us the time and expense of having to go out and bid it ourselves and use time from the purchasing office and trying to put together a specification. So typically, by joinering onto state bids and things like that, they've already done the work, and so it allows us to take advantage of work that they've already done.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I do the contract labor and the sheriff's work crews, community service, have all been phenomenal in helping us get the work done that your department works so hard, has such a big job to do, but allows us to do that in a more fiscally responsible way, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Anderson.
Ready to make a motion if you're good for one.
Okay.
Move to approve an expenditure of $625,000 for contract labor to augment Public Works maintenance activities for fiscal year 2020, utilizing a joinder with State of Nevada RFP contract number 3296-18404.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Abbott.
More out of curiosity, do we have anyone that was a contract labor last year or in previous years that comes back or maybe becomes an employee of ours later?
Yes, sir, Mr. Abbott. We have had people that have been contract laborers with us since we started the program, and they have been full-time with us, through, and we have had some that have finally been able to make the jump and become full-time employees. So
Good success stories.
yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. No further discussion, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 9:14.
Yes, sir. Again, Ron Corman, your Public Works Manager. For the record, as Councilwoman Bybee mentioned, we utilize full-time inmate work program for the last 2 years. Last year, the inmate program provided 9,368 hours of labor and represented 6% of the total Public Works labor hours expended. The work provided by this program is used primarily in parks, along roadways, and down by the river. Today, I'm here asking for your consideration in approving the renewal of the memorandum of understanding between Washoe County Sheriff's Office and the City of Sparks, and to reimburse the Washoe County Sheriff's Office for expenses incurred to provide a supervisor for the inmate labor program in an amount not to exceed $70,557.25, which was budgeted for the fiscal year 20.
Questions? Ms. Bybee.
I just want to say it's the best $70,000 we've ever spent.
I agree.
It really is. So when you're ready for a motion, I'll make one, unless there's other
Well,
questions.
I don't see any other questions, so go right ahead.
Okay. I move to approve the renewal of the memorandum of understanding between the Washoe County Sheriff's Office and the City of Sparks to provide full-time inmate labor to augment public works maintenance in an amount not to exceed $70,557.25 for the fiscal year 2020.
Mr. Anderson,
I'll second the motion.
I just love the 25 cents. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an agreement for joint funding of the Truckee River Operating Agreement between the State of Nevada, Truckee Meadows Water Authority, Washoe County, City of Sparks, City of Reno, and City of Fernley, with Sparks' share being $60,000 for fiscal year 20 and $60,000 for fiscal year 21. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. Once again, Kevin Porter, Utility Manager for the record. The item before you is for consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a joint funding agreement for the funding of the Truckee River Operating Agreement, as we'll call TROA from this point forward. TROA, as you can see on the screen, TROA apportions its administration expenses across the federal government, across the state of Nevada, and California. Nevada's share of that is 40%. And what this joint funding agreement aims to do is to outline the split across the 5 agencies that make up Nevada's share of that 40% cost there. The 5 agencies that make up the Nevada share are Tumwa, Washoe County, City of Sparks, City of Reno, and City of Fernley. I'll switch to the next graphic here that will show the split amongst the 5 Nevada agencies that I just mentioned. And as you will see, the City of Sparks' share is 10% of that cost. And the cost of administration is submitted by the Federal Water Master, who is the administrator of TROA, on an annual basis. So the administrator submits an annual budget, and if that annual budget is agreed upon, then Sparks' share would be the 10% of the Nevada share. The Federal Water Master, who is the administrator, has submitted tentative annual budgets for the next 2 years, and that tentative annual budget is $1.5 million. So of the 40% Nevada share and of the 10% that Sparks is responsible there, that comes out to $60,000. And that $60,000 was included in the fiscal year 20 budget that has already been approved by council. And the Water Master did submit a tentative annual budget for the year following, which would be October 1st, 2020. And that is also $1.5 million, so that would be $60,000 again for Sparks. This agreement goes out a 3rd year, but an annual budget has not been submitted for that 3rd year yet by the Federal Water Master, so we do not have a dollar amount to present as of yet. Staff recommends approval of this item, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions? Okay, looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the agreement for joint funding of the Truckee River Operating Agreement between the State of Nevada, Truckee Meadows Water Authority, Washoe County, City of Sparks, City of Reno, and City of Fernley, with Sparks' share being $60,000 for FY20 and $60,000 for FY21.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Get back to where I was supposed to be. What am I on, 9:16? Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of professional services contract with West Coast Code Consultants, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $900,000 for building permit plan review and inspection services. Mr. Ornelas.
Mayor Pro Tem Lawson, members of the City Council, I'm Armando Ornelas, the Assistant Community Services Director. The Building Division of the Community Services Department has been utilizing contract plan review and building inspection services for several years. The Building Division does so for basically 3 reasons. First and foremost, to provide timely plan review and inspection services to the development community. So for example, on the plan review side, this contractor is required to turn around first comments on a set of plans within 10 days of receiving them. So that's for the biggest reason. Second, it allows the city to maintain staffing flexibility. And then third, and this has become more important in the last couple of years, it gives the city's building division access to the specialized plans review experience that we don't necessarily have in-house. So, for example, with projects like the Deco and the waterfront at the marina, and with the middle school in County Ranch North, those aren't projects that our staff sees, on a regular basis, and so that expertise has come in very handy. West Code Consultants, also referred to as WC3, obviously that's easier to say, has been doing this for a number of years for us. This contract is asking for approval of $750,000 for plan review services and $150,000 for inspection services, and staff is requesting your support.
Okay, questions? Mr. Anderson?
I have a couple of questions. So what percentage of them are they going to be doing for us, or are they currently doing for us?
They primarily do, I would say that they do a large majority of our plans review currently. We have hired someone recently, and we have added some of that capability back, but for the most part, it had been up to our building official to do that work in-house. And so again, we utilize them, and we use Charles Abbott and Associates, which is one of the agreements on the consent agenda for some of the smaller projects. They receive 70% of the plan review fee, and that's how this is structured. But to your question, Councilman Anderson, they're getting the bulk of the plan review work.
Okay. And then along with that, have we done a cost comparison of if we were to do it in-house versus having another party do it for us?
I don't believe we've done that anytime very recently, Councilman Anderson. I think it would involve a significant transition period to build up our internal capacity to do that, provided we could find the appropriate staff. We've done some past searches for plans examiners, and it's been difficult to fill those positions. So, it's very possible that it would be more cost-effective in some respects to do that. Doing so, though, would, again, involve a fairly lengthy transition period, provided we could find the staff.
Understood. Thank you.
Ms. Spivey?
I appreciate using the contract services. I think it benefits for a couple of reasons. It allows us to process all of our, the whole process of building approvals and licensing and zone, everything that we do to be able to do it quickly, so that, especially today, we know how much that costs a builder, developer, or anyone coming in if things are delayed. So the process itself, I think that helps keep things moving at a quick pace, which is our goal to do that. And I think the fact that we're using contract services also versus hiring, do we need people yet? And we will as we move along. We are adding, throughout the city positions. But again, when you add more employees, you're looking at a full benefit package, and that becomes very costly too. So I think what we've done so far in using the contract services we have has been successful for both of those reasons. So I support continuing to do so, and thank you for the work that they're doing and the work that you do with them. I think it's working well. Thanks.
Mr. Abbott?
When someone pulls a building permit, end of the day, this pays for that service, right?
Yeah, this is all funded through the enterprise fund for development services. Yeah.
All I need. Thank you.
And just to be clear, this is different than when we're hiring employees for the Parks Department. This position requires some knowledge and some schooling and some skill that we don't currently possess, and for some of these odd projects that we're getting at this time.
We possess it on a limited basis, and then again, to your point, Mayor Pro Tem Lawson, when you have a project like the Deco, which is true high-rise construction, this is the first high-rise being constructed in this region in quite a lot of years, not just in Sparks, but in Northern Nevada. And so, you know, that specialized experience, you have someone out of an office in Salt Lake City who has worked on those sorts of projects in other jurisdictions. And so it's more current experience, it's deeper experience.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments? Seeing none, looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
Move to approve the professional services contract AC 5588 with West Coast Code Consultants Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $900,000 for building permit plan review and inspection services.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. 9.17, consideration possible approval to purchase information technology, maintenance contracts, and software license renewals from Summit Partners LLC. Mr. Davidick.
Hi,
We
for the
don't
record.
get to see you very often,
No,
so.
on purpose.
Yeah.
IT is behind the
They
scenes.
keep you in the cave over there.
IT is behind the scenes. For the record, Steve Davidick, your IT manager. The first, I have two items before you today, 9.17 and 1.8, and both of them are regarding spending the money that was approved by you in the CIP and also in our regular general budget. The reason we like to bring this before you today is because a lot of it is spent with similar companies or same companies, and I like to keep, you know, an open transparency of where we're spending our money. So the first item is for maintenance contracts this next year, and it's for up to $140,000 with maintenance with both Summit Partners, who helps us manage our HP contracts, our HPE contracts, and our VMware contracts. We'll spend about $75,000 on that. And then the other one is for other software we buy, such as our email security, our backup software, et cetera. We buy through CDWG. And because we buy our Microsoft licensing agreement totally separate and approved, it comes up to close to $200,000, almost, actually about $300,000 a year. So I like to keep you informed. And so that's what the first item is for. And if you have any questions on why we're doing it with those two vendors, I can go into that if you would like.
Questions? All right, seeing none, I'm looking for a motion, 9.17. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the purchase of information technology maintenance, contracts, and software licensing renewals from Summit Partners LLC, CDW-G, or other vendors as needed in an approximate amount of $140,000 for fiscal year 2020.
Ms. Bybee.
Second the motion.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.18.
Make it simple. Okay, so the next item, for the record, this is Steve Davidick, your IT manager, is in the CIP. As we went over in February over the CIP, we talked about all the projects we're going to do this next year. And we buy a lot of items, usually through a vendor to help us do the job better. One of the things we don't do is buy direct from the vendors, and they don't want you to. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, VMware, Panasonic, we have to go to other vendors to buy these. They prefer we don't do it. And also when we buy from these other vendors, such as Summit Partners, they add a value add, such as the time they spent helping us build our network as we are today. Their engineers help us do a better job, so saving the city money in the end. So this item is for purchasing PCs, servers, printers, storage, networking gear over this next year for approximately, well, it will be $471,800. And I'm asking for, staff is asking for your approval to purchase this from these different vendors over the course of the next year.
Questions, Mr. Anderson?
I do have a question on something like this. Do we look at doing a joinder with the state on this, or how do we go about these purchases?
So the best part about this is I purchase everything from these vendors, and they're all using the National Association of State Purchasing, officers. And we follow, they either give us their pricing or better depending on what we're buying. So like last year when we bought the PCs, they gave us even a better deal than we could get from NASPO, as they call it. So that's why we go to the VAR. It's to help us do a better job of buying for you, because we don't want to pay too much, but we also want good equipment, which we do buy. So that's why does that answer your question?
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee?
I move to approve the purchase of technology refresh equipment from Summit Partners LLC, CDW-G, or other vendors as needed from the National Association of State Procurement Officials, NASPO, Value Point contract in an approximate amount of $471,800 for fiscal year 2020.
Mr. Anderson?
Second the motion.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you for getting out of the cave and coming to say hi.
It gives me something.
9.19, consideration, discussion, and possible authorization to staff to seek grant funding from the Sparks Rotary Club in the amount of $80,000 to assist in the cost of design and construction of the Sparks Marina All Abilities Playground. Mr. Kaysen.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. For the record, my name is Brian Kaysen, the Capital Projects Manager. I've got this exhibit up here that shows basically the Sparks Marina with the current location of our playground that's located on the northwest corner of the Sparks Marina. Ultimately, the FY20 capital improvement plan you guys approved had a project in there to replace that playground with an all abilities playground. And this particular agenda item is concerning the Sparks Rotary. A few months ago, they heard that we were going to be working on this project and ultimately came to us and suggested that we apply for a grant through them, that they had some funding available to offset some of the costs for this project. So ultimately, staff is seeking authorization to request grant funds from the Sparks Rotary in the amount of $80,000 to assist in the cost of design and construction for this new Sparks Marina All Abilities Playground. With that being the end of my presentation, I'll answer any questions you might have.
I'm very proud of my Rotary Club for stepping up to the plate here. That's a big number for a small little club like ours. So thank you, Sparks Rotary. All right, any questions, comments? Ms. Bybee?
Yeah, Brian, it's saying initially the estimated cost for the playground was looking at $500,000, and now you're looking at is expected to exceed the $500,000. Or with the $80,000, obviously, that's going to help tremendously. Will that still keep us within the budget? Would it exceed more than $80,000, or do we know at this time?
Yes, I mean, the projected budget for this was in that $560,000 to $600,000 range, and the Parks Department was planning on pursuing grant funding to hopefully enable us to get the total amount of funding available or needed for this project. So this is going to be very helpful, and yes, it should give us the money that we need to complete a very nice all abilities playground similar to the one over at Power Up Park.
Okay. Thank you for that. And also, I'd like to thank Sparks Rotary. Very generous partnership and their community activities and work they've done with us in the city, all the Rotary clubs here. But thank you to Sparks Rotary. That will help, and excited to see the playground. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
Again, thank you, Sparks Rotary, all the Rotarians out there. That's awesome that they did this for us, and had lots of compliments about the Power Up Park and how nice that is for the kids of all abilities. So this is a fantastic project, and I'm ready for motion if that's okay.
Mr. Abbott, you have a comment?
Not a comment, yeah.
Yes.
Gonna echo everyone else, I think, just how good it is to get some free money for our community and have some community engagement. You know, I think Power, Golden Eagle, and the Marina are definitely our three gyms. I don't think I would ever go on record to pick one over the other. But it's a cool project that we'll be able to help out our community all around, so thanks.
Mr. Anderson?
I would like to make the motion. I move to authorize staff to seek grant funds from the Sparks Rotary to assist the design construction of the Sparks Marina All Abilities Playground in the amount of $80,000.
Mr. Abbott?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Wow, unanimous vote, surprise.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. I think this is gonna be great, and I know the Rotary Club is extremely excited We have one of the fellows who's headed this up has a daughter with special needs, and he's looking forward to bringing her over there and trying it out. So we're looking forward to that day too.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, public hearing and action items unrelated to planning and zoning. In 10.1, do you want to explain this, or would you like me to read this whole thing?
I'll explain it really quick, but you'll have
Thanks,
to read
Debbie.
the recommendation, and it's a long recommendation. Good afternoon, I'm Debbie Kinder, your Compliance Accounting Manager for the record, and I'm before you today asking for approval of an interfund loan from the general fund to the grant funds as needed in 2020. And NRS states that if an interfund loan occurs, you have to have a public hearing. And they also state that if you go negative cash, you have partook in an interfund loan. And we have reimbursement type grants. Therefore, we are 95% of the time negative in our cash, waiting for a reimbursement. In order to comply with law, we hold this public hearing, which will apply to the whole fiscal 2020. And in order for you to make the decision on whether to approve 3349, you need this pertinent information. That staff anticipates that an interest-free loan of up to $500,000 for a period of 30 days or less from the general fund's available non-restricted assets will not compromise the economic viability of the general fund during fiscal year 2020. And with that, I'm available to answer any questions that you or the public might have.
Questions? All right, seeing none, we're looking for a motion. Or we can do a public hearing first. This is a public hearing. I'm open up to the public for comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll close it back, bring it back to the dais. Now I'm looking for a motion. I'm new to this. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the resolution number 3349, authorizing the Financial Services Department to establish an interfund loan to the Community Development Block Grant Entitlement Fund and/or the Community Developers Block Grant Fund and/or the State Grants and Donations Fund from the general fund as needed during fiscal year 2019-2020 FY20.
Okay, second, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir. I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, any comments or questions? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 10.2.
I'm still here.
You're still up, Debbie.
Debbie Kinder, Compliance Accounting Manager for the record. This is another interfund loan. This interfund loan will be between the motor vehicle fund and the general fund. Should the general fund run negative on cash and the general fund 2% of the time runs negative, it's declining as the economy improves. But our revenues don't necessarily match timing for our expenditures, and occasionally we have a negative fund balance or a negative cash balance. Because we can't predict when that negative cash will happen, then we don't have time to do a public hearing. So this will suffice for the year. And you will need to know that staff anticipates that an interest-free loan of up to $1.2 million for a period of 90 days or less from the motor vehicle fund's available non-restricted assets will not compromise the economic viability of the motor vehicle fund during year 2020. And then I'm happy to answer any questions you might have for the public.
Questions? Seeing none, looking for a motion. Or we'll do a public hearing again.
Testing us now.
I am. No, I'm not. No, I really blew that one. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the dais. Now I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
Move to approve resolution number 3348, authorizing the Financial Services Department to establish an interfund loan to the general fund from the Motor Vehicle Maintenance Fund of the City of Sparks as necessary during the fiscal year 2019-2020, fiscal year 20, for general fund cash flow purposes.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 10.3. Public hearing, second reading, bill number 2760, an ordinance amending Sparks Municipal Code 2.04.020, salary of municipal judge and Sparks Municipal Code 2.040.030, salary for the city attorney by revising the wage calculation with an annual fiscal impact of $10,000 for 2021 and 22, and providing for other matters properly related thereto. Mr. Thornley.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, Doug Thornley, Assistant City Manager, with an ending of relief pitching for the Human Resources Director, Mindy Falk. Mr. Mayor, this is a public hearing.
That's all you need to know? Is that your presentation?
No, it is not. What we're looking to accomplish here is we are revisiting the salary of our municipal court judges. It's been kind of calculated in a static fashion for the last 17 years, but in that time, there have been some significant changes to the position. First and foremost, the charter's been amended to require our municipal court judges to be licensed members of the Nevada Bar. That wasn't previously a requirement. Secondly, the judges are now kind of on call on a 24-hour basis, and that's because of the McNeely warrants that they use for blood draws related to DUIs, and because of more recent changes in the way bail is set in Nevada. And so they get calls at all hours of the day and night and 7 days a week. And so what we're looking to do is essentially pay them in a fashion that's commensurate with the way we pay the city attorney and the deputy city attorneys, that reflects the demands on their times and the sacrifices that they have to make to be available on that 24-hour-a-day basis. So what's going to happen there, or what's proposed to happen, is we'll amend the ordinances that set the pay for both the municipal court judges and the city attorney. Previously, the city attorney was pegged at $5,000 more than the municipal court judges. Now, what we're proposing is that both municipal court judges and the city attorney will be paid $5,000 more than the average of the appointed department heads, excluding the highest and the lowest. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, that does conclude my presentation, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Questions? All right, this is a public hearing.
There you go.
I remembered this time. This is a public hearing. Anybody in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I move to adopt Bill number 2760, an ordinance amending section 2.04, section 2.04.20 of the Sparks Municipal Code.
Mr. Anderson.
Second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. And with that, we are on to no planning and zoning. Public's comments from the public. Anyone at the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none. Comments from the mayor, city council, and city manager. Mr. City Manager? Comments from the council? Well, wow. Okay. With that, without objection, we are adjourned.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. We have another meeting.
I'd like to call to order the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting of Monday, June 24th, 2019, with a roll call.
Chairperson Bybee?
Here.
Agency members Abbott?
Here.
Lawson?
Here.
Anderson?
Here.
Smith, absent. Dare, absent. Chief Legal Officer Adams? Here. Chief Administrative Officer Cruz?
Here.
We have a quorum, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4, public comment. Do I have any public comment? Seeing none, move on to item 5. 5.1, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Agency Member Anderson?
Move to approve.
Do I have a second? Agency Member Abbott?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.1, minutes. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting of May 28th, 2019. Do I have any corrections, additions, or a motion to approve? Agency Member Abbott?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second? Agency Member Anderson?
Move to approve.
I have a motion.
Second, sorry.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Item 7, there are no announcements. Item 8.1, consent and possible acceptance of the report of the claims and bills approved for payment and appropriation transfers for the period of May 9th, 2019 through June 5th, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve? Sorry. Agency Member Abbott?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Second, Agency Member Anderson?
Second the motion?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.1, General Business. Consideration and possible adoption of resolution number SRA 134 to augment the fiscal year budget in the Redevelopment Area 1 Capital Projects Fund by $142,035 to provide appropriations to supplement the Community Development Block Grant CDGB Fund for the I Street from Rock to 15th Street Pedestrian Improvements Project. Stacy.
Stacy Hemmerling, Budget Manager. This is another budget augmentation. So council approved a bid award to Granite Construction for the project you mentioned, I Street from Rock to 15th. The award was for $421,000 and $142,035 of that was to be paid by the Redevelopment Area 1 Capital Projects Fund. Again, not in the fiscal 19 budget. Funding is there. We're trying to get the budget authority there now with this resolution. This is a fund that collects ad valorem taxes and has an additional requirement for its augmentation that we do a public notice that we are doing this augmentation. We have done that public notice within the timeframe required, and so now we're just asking for adoption of the resolution. Any questions?
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Lawson?
Nope. Move to approve.
Okay. Motion to approve. Do I have a second? Agency Member Abbott?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Sorry, gotta go back. Item 12, comments from the public. Do I have any comments from the public? Seeing none, close that. Item 12.2, comments from the mayor, city council, or city manager. Any comments? Seeing none, we're adjourned.
There we go.